Hello, everybody. It's great to be here on the impact stage for really what is going to be an incredible session with somebody whose impact is global and absolutely undeniable. She is a multi-award winning director, actor, screenwriter, activist, and mum. And she is also the first female Arab filmmaker to be nominated for an Oscar, Golden Globe, BAFTA for her incredible film, Kafarnahum. Ladies and gentlemen, please, one more time, please join me in welcoming the amazing Nadine Labaki.
Thank you.
It's great to have you in Sharjah, first time.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
I know that everyone wants to hear your story and, of course, about the incredible latest film that you directed, produced, created. First of all, let's go back. Where did Nadine come from? Young Nadine, why did she want to become a filmmaker in the first place?
It started very early. I grew up during the war in Lebanon, so I think the fact that we had a difficult childhood, sometimes we were not allowed to go play outside, or sometimes there were no schools at all. The schools were shut, so we used to spend a lot of time at home, behind closed doors, sometimes even behind sandbags. So TV or television or films became my escape, escape to a different reality. So for me, it was the highlight of my day was the moment the power is going to come back, because most of the time there was no power, because I knew that this was the time I was going to be able to watch TV. And I was also lucky because I used to live right above a small video store that used to rent films. We used to spend a lot of time, watching the same films over and over again because we didn't have much choice. Anyway, so I think when I discovered that to be able to escape the boredom of my own reality, or I had to become a filmmaker and tell those stories. And I decided very early that this is what I want to do in life. This is where I belong. I want to be able to tell stories. I want to be able to, maybe it was a way for me to escape, my own reality. And that's what I did.
Fast forward to Kafarnahum, different ways to pronounce it. But it was an incredible film. It took us by surprise. It was heartbreaking in the most incredible way. But, this was a film that Steven Spielberg called one of the best films of the year when it came out. Why did you feel that you needed to make it? You made it with people who were not known actors, had never acted before, in fact. Why was this film so important to you?
It was very important because obviously when you are an artist, I think one of the main things that draws you to become an artist is also in a way to maybe change things that are around you, or maybe turn a certain frustration or a certain anger towards something positive. There is this need sometimes even to change the world. How many pieces of art have created movements, have initiated revolutions, or have really changed things in you, or changed your perspective. So when you have this, you feel this responsibility in a way, and when you are aware of the power that images have or a film can have, it really becomes a responsibility. So for me, it was a way of maybe changing a reality, or trying at least to create a debate around it, or trying to shed a light on a certain problem. And it was really the situation of those children that I used to meet a lot in Lebanon, either working or on the streets. And so for me, it was a way of, not adapting to the situation and deciding I cannot just, adapt and keep going and live my life as if I didn't see this reality. This reality exists. And what can I do as a filmmaker or as an artist to maybe try to create a debate about it? And let's talk about it. Let's see this reality and talk about it. And that's what I decided to do.
And it was absolutely incredible. When we see these children, Zayn, this young boy who, this is his reality, but he acted in the most incredible way in this film. Zayn al-Rafi'i, he was 12, but he looks younger. And these are children that are invisible to us. But in this film, we see them for the first time in the most incredible way. And it's in a way that it's trying to say that they matter too. We need to know their stories. There's so much more to this that really comes to the heart of us as well. They connect to us in a deeper way. Talk to us about that and how you achieved that, because it was truly remarkable.
What really drew me in the first place was wanting to understand what is the behind the scenes of those children. What happens when, this child comes up to you, speaks to you, you either decide to talk to them, help them, or not. Sometimes you, unfortunately, completely ignore them. So for me, it was this will to know, what does this child think of me in this situation? When I decide to ignore him, or what does this child, how does he see this society that decides to ignore him? Where does he go? Where does he go when he disappears around the corner? What's his life? Who are his parents? What does it look like for him, his everyday struggle? So that's how I started slowly researching. I knew that this was the theme that I wanted to talk about. That was the subject that really was, sort of becoming an obsession of the moment. So that's how I decided to start this research. And this is how slowly, from one child to another, you start one family to another, one neighborhood to another. You start building this knowledge and this experience, and it becomes also something that you live with every day. And that's what I decided to do for 5 years. I was writing the script and researching at the same time. I, visited I don't know how many marginalized and difficult neighborhoods in Lebanon. I visited so many, juvenile detention centers. I used to go to court, just see how does the justice system also behave, and how does it, how does it deal with those very difficult situations when it comes to, situations that are, regarding children or violence towards children. So slowly I started having, this sort of more knowledge about it. And everything I used to see, I used to come back home with my co-writers and somehow write it down or just describe it in a different way, but it used to turn into a scene in the film. So everything you see in the film is very much based on things that we really experienced, things that we saw happening in front of us. So for me, I felt this responsibility to not just, it's a difficult job in all cases, and it's as difficult for a man as it is for a woman. And maybe it's because I've never felt it this way, that I've never seen the doubt in any man's eyes because I'm a woman. I've never felt this doubt, I've never felt this fragility myself because I'm a woman. I've always felt, I can make it and I can do it. And that's what I reflect. I think this is the confidence maybe that I reflect that made it possible for me to do the things I did. I've never really doubted that I'm not going to do this or that because I'm a woman. I might have felt that maybe it's difficult because I come from a country where there's no film industry, or it's very difficult coming from Lebanon, but never because I'm a woman. But you cannot generalize this. I mean, this can. um, you cannot generalize because I can't say it's the same for other women. Other women might be facing a lot of difficulties making films, but it was not my case.
There's a lot to be said for that confidence. What is it that's given you personally all the confidence to say, I can absolutely do this? I am up to the task, I can tell the story, I can produce some of the greatest cinema in the world. What gives you that confidence?
I really don't know. I don't know what it is. It's like, I don't know, it's faith. It's just really believing in what you're doing. Where does it really come from? It's difficult to say. I don't know. Because it's actually it's actually bold. I don't know how to say it. It's actually
bold, yeah.
Yeah, it's actually bold. I don't know where I got this confidence from. I used to tell my father when I was really small, I was like maybe 12 or 13 or 14 or something like that. I used to tell him, you see, one day I will make a film and the whole world is going to see it. And he was like, yeah, whatever. I don't know where. I don't know where it came from. What made me have so much faith that whatever I was going to do was going to see and meet, the world, or I don't know. Maybe I'm trying to really analyze with you now.
Yeah. I would love for you to think about it.
Was it because my parents never doubted it? Because they never gave me the impression that I can't do it? I never saw this doubt in my father's eyes. Never. Even though he was like, yeah. He was always really encouraging. He was. I didn't meet any fear in my parents' eyes when I decided that, this is what I want to do in life. I want to make films, and I was always encouraged in a way. I don't know what it is that gives you this faith, really, and this confidence, even though there was no chance for me, really, to make a film one day, or because there was nothing, really, nothing at all. I knew I was going to do it. Is it something about the law of attraction, about the law of attraction? I don't know. I might have attracted it.
خلص, your parents said, Nadine قوية, she knows what she's doing, مصممة خلص, she's gone.
But I mean, it's a lot of hard work too. It doesn't mean that, I worked very, very hard. But I don't know.
That's amazing.
It's difficult to...
I mean, you have that already. But I'd love for you to kind of give a couple of words, because so many of us, whether we want to become a filmmaker or not, maybe we have that thing that we want to do. What would you say to us to give us that confidence?
It's really, really having faith and knowing why. Again, I'm going back to the why. Why do we need to tell that story? Or why do we need to make that step, or make this project, or shoot that scene, or write this scene? Why? What is it? What is the real, visceral need to talk about this? And this is one of the most important things, I think. And everything keeps, I think, the world conspires with you, I feel, when you really know why you're doing what you're doing, and when there's a really honest intention. I don't know where it comes from, but I will tell you a small story. When I was also like a teenager, maybe, I don't know, 17, 18, 19, I don't remember. I used to have this very clear vision in my head. I am standing in a movie theater. It's a packed movie theater. People are standing, everybody's clapping, crying. On the screen, on the big screen, there's a film, the credits of the film that I just made. And next to me is standing the music composer of the film, and he's my husband, or my man, or the man in my life. So that was a very clear vision in my head.
How old were you?
I was maybe, I don't know, 19, 20, something like that. I was really very young.
Before you met Khaled?
Before I met Khaled, before I met any musician in my life. And so, I don't know, maybe 10, 20 years later, no, 15 maybe years later, I am standing in. I'm in Cannes at the the Cannes, the director's fortnight selection in Cannes. I'm in a huge movie theater. I'm standing up. People are just around me, standing ovation. Everybody's clapping, crying. I'm looking at the screen. There's the credit of this film that I just did, Sukkar, and standing next to me is Khalid Mzannar, who is the music composer of my film, and we were about to get married. So this is just to go back. No, just to go back to this, I don't know, this sort of faith or something, or this inner, I don't know what to call it.
I love that we've got you thinking about this now.
Yeah.
I feel like a book is going to come out of it.
I don't know.
You're going to have to write something. It's incredible. It's incredible how you just visualized exactly that moment.
Yeah.
But before we let you go, Nadine, what's next for you? What are you excited about? What are you working on?
I'm working on a new film. I'm writing my new film. It's gonna take a while. It's not gonna be. It's gonna be long. It's gonna take a long time. But I'm back in my, sort of back to inspiration, because obviously with everything that's been going on lately, there's a sort of a paralysis of creativity. It's very difficult, really. The situation is so hard. You don't know what is your voice, how to talk about what's happening, how do you give it, the importance that it needs to have. What is your place, to talk about what's happening? So hopefully, the next one is going to be something at least that I feel the need to say.
Amazing.
And I hope it will find its audience.
And it's almost a moment where you just feel like, how do you keep going with everything that's happening around you? But truly, being creative is an act of resistance. It's an act to keep going, isn't it?
Exactly.
Do you feel that?
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, this is what we all need to be doing as artists. But it's hard. It's hard to find your place. It's hard to find your place, to find your voice. It's a lot of responsibility, especially now, with all this political correctness, unfortunately, that is out there, all this cancel culture. It's making it really hard for artists to express really what they need to say without censoring themselves. You feel like self-censorship is becoming part of your nature. Not only as artists, any one of us, I think, we really think about what we need to say, how we need to say it, in what manner, and we end up most of the time censoring half of it, and sometimes even being completely silent because we are scared of the repercussions, we are scared of how it's going to be interpreted, who's going to interpret it, in what way, and how sometimes it even makes you doubt your own intentions. So it's a time where there's a huge, the whole scale of values is completely shaken. You don't know what's right from what's wrong. Anything you say or do will have, 50% of people completely being against it, and maybe 50% being with it. And where is the truth in that? Because we don't have the capacity to have the absolute truth on anything. So you're always going to be wrong in something, or you're always going to be ignorant about something. There's always something that is a bit fragile in whatever you say. But it's difficult times. It's like you have to be thinking about everything every time you put something out there.
Well, here's to seeking and hopefully finding the truth. And Nadine Labaki, we're excited for everything that is going to be coming from you. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in thanking the incredible Nadine Labaki.